Welcome, welcome. So we are going to hop right in. You are listening to Legacy Moments, where we have authentic conversations about life, business, and so much more to transform your mind, body, and soul. I am Dr. Patrice Berry, and I am joined by my co host and mom, Johnnie Lloyd. Together, we combine my years of psychological training with her years of business and leadership experience to add value to your day. All right. Thank you so much for being here. We are going to hop right into today's topic, student loans. So, the current administration has talked about forgiving $10,000 up to $10,000 of student loan debt, or $20,000 if you received a Pell Grant. And you're able to go to, I think it's studentaid.gov. Do not quote me there. If you need the direct link, please just ask in the comments and I'll make sure to link the correct one. But just talking about what this means for people. So I went to graduate school, and so for undergrad and graduate school together, because my mom paid a large portion of my undergrad, which was the cheaper bill. If I had known, I would have had her do the graduate bill.
Wisdom.
But with my undergrad and graduate debt that was mine, it came out to be almost $200,000. And I have steadily paid down all but $27,000. And I don't believe that I was eligible for the Pell Grant. So I think I'm going to receive that $10,000 in forgiveness. And I've also benefited from the current student loans have been on hold since March of 2020. I have made some payments. I've probably made a total of $5,000 to $6,000 maybe. And so the debt was higher. It was in the 30s back in March. And if I had continued to pay regularly, they would have been paid off by now. But with the pandemic, I was able to use the money that I would have put towards my student loans during that time to launch my business. And so this really does open some opportunities for people. And we're going to talk about that today.
Wow. And I love the way you entered in. So let's talk about a couple of the things that she looked it up. For the people who during the pandemic, since 2020, 2019, that time when everything was on hold as far as your interest and your payments, right? They were on hold. If you continued to make payments and in that time period, you literally paid off your debt. Hear me. This is very important. Contact your service provider. Let's say you paid it down under 10,000. Contact your service provider. According to NPR, I want to tell you, NPR, this is not in my head. This is NPR gave this information that you can go to your service loan provider. That's federal, your federal loan. You went to your service loan provider and ask them to refund, hear me, to refund the difference. Let's say you have it paid down to 3,000, to refund 7, so you'll have 10 on the books, so you can get the 10 for forgiveness. Now, other than that, so that's a huge thing. Other than that, if you completely paid it off and you owe no man nothing but to love him, shout, I guess. You know what I'm saying? So it's a blessing to have done that. Go ahead.
And because there are lots of people that feel some kind of way about it. And I thought it was kind of funny that the whitehouse.gov Twitter account was kind of calling out people, because some people, so I received a certain amount of money through EDL during this time because I had a legal business and I was able to receive, because during this time, the government was giving money to businesses, and then also individuals received stimulus checks.
PPP, I'm going to go. Some people received PPPs. They received additional support during the pandemic. A lot of that was grant money, because a lot of people will look at this that's happening for the people that are in low to moderate income, middle income, and say, I paid mine off, or my kids, I paid whatever. I got it. But you didn't turn down no PPP. You didn't turn down none of that money, right? And we didn't scream and holler when that happened. So now that this is happening, let's use the same mental compassion for the opportunity other people may get to do that. Because what it's going to do, what it could do, is stimulate the economy and have people like Patrice that started a business and launched out on their own during the pandemic. This helped them flourish and grow and build. Okay. So it's not just about getting the forgiveness, it's about what are you going to do with the money. So I'm not going to start there. Let's talk a little bit about the forgiveness first. Like Patrice said, 10,000 maximum, 10,000 if you didn't get a Pell Grant, up to 20K if you did get a Pell Grant. Now, in her case, we don't think he had a Pell Grant because there was a limit on income, and I happened to make a lot more than that. Okay. But again, I'm not fussing about that, right? Remember, if you've paid it down, but you haven't paid it off, to go to your service provider and ask them questions. Do that now. Don't wait until the application hits. Do that now so you have information, because there's going to be a short window that they're recommending that you fill out the application. There actually is not yet, because I went out to whitehouse.gov. That's the place to get real information, whitehouse.gov. And it doesn't say anything about there's a cutoff date. But they do say they recommend that everybody fills it out by November 15th. Okay. So that would give the board, the education that in its the government, an opportunity to 4 weeks to process it, so you don't go over the December 31st date and start hitting with interest and stuff, because that's when it starts back up. Yeah. So that's why they're recommending the November 15th date. The applications are supposed to be available mid-October. Yeah. If you go out to the websites, NPR has one, and whitehouse.gov has some connects. To go out to the websites, they will ping you as more updates come up. Mm-hmm. But this is what I recommend. I recommend that you get real information. You know, there's a lot of people putting a lot of information out there. I'm telling you, the information I got is from whitehouse.gov, and it's from NPR. Everybody can make a mistake. So please do the research yourself. Okay. Second thing, right now there's companies being formed, especially for those people who don't want to read the application process. They're going to tell you that the application is hard, that they'll do it for you, all of those things. And for a wonderful fee, whatever that fee is, for this wonderful, amazing fee, they're going to do the application and make sure they process it in time and all that wonderfulness. Breathe and fill out the application. Just breathe and fill out the application. There will be YouTube videos. I promise you, somebody's going to put it out there to tell you.
And I might.
Yeah, we might put the application out there to tell you these are the things that to look at for the application, all that, to make it easy. Do the work. So then the benefit of you doing the work is you get the maximum advantage of getting the return on the 10,000. Okay, now one more thing for the 10,000. If you make, as a single person, you make more than $125,000 a year.
That was 150. Is it 125?
125. Okay. Or I had to look at my notes and say, did it? You know, because Patrice,
as a couple,
have you ever been with somebody who's really smart? Okay, y'all gonna have to, we're gonna pause for just that. Have you been around people that are really smart and intelligent, and they have this self-confidence that they have, and they say something and it makes you question what you know? Have you been around people like that? Anyway, when that happens, and it will happen because I'll do the same thing, other people do it. And because you value the person you're with, just do the research. That's back to what I said right earlier. I said, do your research. Go out and look for yourself, because there's going to be a lot of humming going on about what you can and cannot do. Okay, so 125 for a single person, 250,000 for a couple. And now they have not determined if it's based on adjusted gross income. I haven't seen that. Mm-hmm. Or if it's based on actual income coming in. I'm believing that it's adjusted gross. And if this adjusted gross, that gives more people an opportunity to file for it. But that's the deal. You had something to say.
And then if you did take out private loans, this will not apply. This only applies to federal loans. And so that's where, when students are looking at loans, and if a private company, so like there are companies like big banks that offer student loans, but they are private loans. They are not federal. They're not federal loans. And so private loans are not subject to the current payment freeze and the interest freeze. And so I only took federal loans. I was offered a lot more money and private loans, but because my mom gave me a good money sense growing up, I knew that I could make what I was offered with just the subsidized and unsubsidized loans, the federal loans, that I could make those work and avoid private loans. Some people, they needed the private loans, and that is, the interest rate ends up being higher. That debt ends up being a lot more difficult. And so for students watching, if you're a student and you're thinking about getting student loans, remember, you have to pay those bad boys off.
Just saying.
It's real money. It's not fake money. I don't think, when I was in grad school, I don't think I really, it didn't feel real, and I didn't have a good understanding of how much I would make post graduation. And so I wish, when I was in graduate school, or before going to graduate school, I had asked, what are the typical salaries, the average salary? Because I was thinking, oh, like as soon as I graduate, I'm gonna be a doctor. I'm gonna be making 60, 70,000, on my way to six figures. And no. When I graduated, I was making 20,000. I graduated right as the market crashed and jobs were scarce. So normally I likely would have been able to find a higher paying job, but most places, even places hiring therapists, they were just trying to maintain the people that they had, and I was not yet licensed, so I couldn't practice on my own, and so like it just threw a bunch of extra stuff. But as opportunities, and so I encourage people to look at this as an opportunity and see what you can do with this. So with this forgiveness, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pay off my car. My car, I have some money set aside that I can use that there. Or if during this time, because I don't know if y'all felt it, but I felt it at the pump and at the grocery store. I'm seeing shrinkflation. I'm seeing, normally it was you'd get, normally it was
10 ounces.
And now it's only 8 ounces for the exact same amount. And so I'm going to be able to use this strategically, because I don't want you to get this money or get this forgiveness and then just like go buy a purse or like, I don't know.
I'm not saying, because a lot of times when we get something like this, and what I call it is an immediate injection of cash. Number one, that it's not going to your bank account. Did I say that? Did I say that?
Sally
it's
Mae,
going to Sally and Federal. Okay, so this is the deal for the people, because I really want you to understand this. For the people who started with a government loan and they went to a private lender,
okay,
this does not apply to you.
I didn't, yeah,
because it's based on where your loan is now.
Yeah.
So sorry. So, but that is the deal. That's really real information. Okay. So if you started off with a government loan and you moved over to a private lender.
So I did a federal consolidation, because lots of companies will offer you consolidation. I always always kept it federal, because federal, and I believe with what was passed, they're going to cap the amount that your student loan payment can be related to your income. Because I think in the past it might have been like 20%. In the past it was higher, the amount that it could be. Because I tried to apply. I'm like y'all are getting half of my check. Like y'all are getting a large portion. It wasn't quite half, but it felt that way.
It sounds funny, but the discretionary income is what it's connected to.
Yeah.
Now it went down, because this is a 3-prong approach to helping people in this space, right? To help people that are middle income and lower income, who are went out to get school debt and all of that. So it's a three-prong approach. Number one, the government has already admitted that they have not kept pace to the increase that has happened in the school system as far as what it costs you to get an education.
Yes.
What it cost me to get my undergrad and all that is not even comparison. Okay. And then even my graduate work, not even close to comparison to what you have to pay now. Now, the other prong, the other fix is what Patrice just alluded to, which it used to be that it was 10 or 15% of your discretionary income was where your cap was. This second prong is that it's going to go down to 5% of your discretionary income. Now, what you consider discretionary and what they consider discretionary
not the same.
Are not the same.
They're not asking you.
They're not asking you about your hair.
Daycare.
They ain't asking you about daycare. They ain't asking about that. That's not discretionary in your opinion. So don't go out and get debt thinking, okay, this is going to, no. And don't forget, you still got to pay it off.
Yes.
So don't stretch it out and the rest of your lifetime. You be 90 trying to pay off your school loan debts. So this is a really important point. Do you know that you cannot discharge debt for student loans?
It's really, really hard.
It goes until
the only way is if you are medically, like 100% medically disabled. Like if you're determined to be like you cannot work. That is, and then the other one we're not going to go into it, but yeah. It doesn't.
Breathing is not an option on that one. Okay. So I'm just going to leave it there. Breathe not up. But let's talk about a couple other opportunities that you may not be aware of. And I found this very interesting. So I would like to share with you. It's called public service loan forgiveness.
Yes.
Patrice is very familiar with that because see, if you go into the military,
or even if you work for a state organization,
nonprofit,
or a nonprofit,
tribal, all of that. So I'm not telling you where to go to work after you leave,
and you don't have to work there the entire time.
Yeah,
like it's just
but you get a portion of your debt forgiven, possibly all of it, based on how long you work and the situation. So my point for saying that is you may be working in a nonprofit already and have not applied to have some of your debt forgiven or looked at under that umbrella.
Above this $10,000
to $20,000. Okay. So look at that so that they can go back and fix it. Hello. Okay.
And somebody mentioned teachers. So the state of Virginia already has student loan forgiveness options for teachers, and there's a hiring shortage. And so a lot of places are offering bonuses. Like they're like, please come work in schools. We will train you. We will get you to where you need to be. And so for a lot of different people, when look into the loan forgiveness options in your area. And I think those state ones, it doesn't have to be. I think they forgive private loans. I don't know that for sure.
But check it out.
But check it out.
And the key with that is do your due diligence. Hear me? Do your due diligence. Now let's go back to where Patrice was, because I really liked where she was. She said she's going to take this benefit and she's going to take what she would have paid and she's going to pay off something. This is what happens sometimes when we get an injection of whether it be cash or we get a raise or we get additional funds coming from somewhere or we get loan forgiveness and say, hey, I ain't got to pay that. Let me go and increase my debt or buy a bigger Apple or whatever, right? Don't do that. Position yourself to build wealth. And listen to me. Building wealth is about decreasing debt. Do you know for every dollar that you decrease your debt, you have additional dollar on your net worth? All this is all of your assets minus what your liabilities equals your net worth. Okay, that's a really simple way to look at it. Now, there's some dynamics, but we're not going to talk about that because that ain't what we're here for today. So the deal with that is look at that and look at how is this going to position you for the future. Now, remember this, parents, if you took out the debt for your child, remember that you can also, this applies to you. Let's say you did it for 3 children.
Did you look at can both people, can the parent and child?
No.
Okay, it's only per borrower. So if please talk to your child, like please don't apply for it and they so
we don't want you to have stripes on that's going in some direction that you don't want, or
because
orange suits,
because only one person
can do it.
Can do it for because it's 10,000 per
borrower,
but I think for the student.
And the borrower is the
student.
is considered the student.
Yeah.
So it's linked back to them.
Yeah.
Because that's what you're getting it for. You didn't go to school, the student went to school. So it's based on the student.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the situation. Make sure, like
Patrice said, can talk about
how
maybe you do 5,000, they do 5,000.
But remember, it's based on who's paying the debt.
Because they could both be paying for it. Does that make sense? Like the parent could be paying back their portion, and the child and the student could be paying back their portion.
So communication is going to be key in this.
Yeah.
Okay, communication is going to be key.
And we believe, so I want my child to do better. Does that make sense? And so if only one of us could have it, I personally would let my child have it. And maybe my child is living with me rent free. So now maybe, hey, you get that 10,000, or we talk about it. Hey, I take the 10,000 and you don't have to pay rent for the rest, for the next 2 years or something. But if you take the 10,000, then you're going to resume the payments for your car insurance and you're going to do these things. And so I think having these conversations, I think it can be helpful. And somebody mentioned that they didn't know about the public loan, that student loan forgiveness that it applied to nonprofits. And it's an application that you submit your employer, and then they determine, does this qualify? And then once you've made a certain number of payments, I believe they take a look and they could potentially forgive the rest of that debt.
Yes.
After you've paid for a particular period of time. I think it's like 10 years. Yeah.
I think it's 10 years, but you may have the 10 years already done.
And with them adjusting it to capping it at 5% of your income. So this is communication, not only with, between child and parent, but also communication with your loan servicer as well. Because some people would feel bad about, well, I could pay it, but so if I qualified for that public loan forgiveness, I would only pay what I had to.
Well, and let me tell you,
because normally those jobs are lower paying. So that's why I don't. So I was employed at private companies, and my salary was higher than what I would have been able to get through state positions. And so
it's not about what you can afford to do, because you may be living with your parents and say, well, don't bother you. Let's talk about the system that we're talking about. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you get the 10,000 written off, right? So now you owe less money. Now you, the person who may be living with their parents, can then take and maybe now being capped at 5%. That doesn't mean that you can't pay more, but you pay it against the principal. Yes. Pay down that principal. Mm-hmm. This works whether you're doing a house, whether you're doing a vehicle. Pay down the principal, mm-hmm. and then it will be paid off faster. You get what I'm saying?
Because let's say you have high credit card debt. And so during this time, because they extended the time that payments have to be paid. And so paying down. So right now, my card loan, that's why I would look at paying down that one, because I'm being charged interest for it right now. And so being able to just take a look at how can this system best benefit me, because the system is not made to benefit you. It's made to make somebody rich. That's what the system is made for. They benefit from you not paying. So that's why minimizing the amount that you have to pay, because if you miss a payment, those fees, student loans. So I'm thankful that I was raised by this amazing woman. So what I did was, when I graduated, I got on a graduated repayment plan where I was only required to pay a small amount, but that amount has went up. That amount
quite a bit
has gone up quite a bit throughout the years, as my income has also went up throughout the years, and I have never missed a payment. Sally Mae goes into my account when she has when she has permission to. She just takes her money, because I never wanted to. Whoops, I forgot, and then there are all these extra fees, because some people they borrowed $100,000, but then because of and they deferred their loans. And then because of non-payment fees or these other things, if they weren't on like an approved deferment, some people now owe like 200,000. Like some people have doubled their debt because of these fines and things. And so using this in a way that can benefit you. So not paying those student loans, the freedom, the freedom that it gave me during this time. Cause like I said, I would not have left that salaried position if I hadn't if student loans hadn't been placed on hold. Because between student loans and daycare, I'm grateful I'm married, so like we were able to kind of share responsibilities and things. So those were the two largest things that my portion was covering. And so being able to not have that,
it's huge.
Like you sleep better. It really is a big deal. And so I stopped, because I could have paid off the amount that I owe during.
We talked about it. Yeah, we talked.
But I was like, I heard our current president was going to look at doing something. I'm not, because it's going to be harder to get the money back from. So if you did pay more, it could be hard to get that refund back, because the companies might not, because they could have to refund like a port, so there's some dynamics could be harder.
Yeah, because if you paid it off, remember that the loan is closed.
Yeah.
So if the loan is closed, I don't know that there's a way to refund. Even if you remember, I talked about the potential. So I would be very specific again. If you owe, let's say you owe 3,000 left, but they're going to forgive 10. Talk to your service loan provider.
And she's just doing it like that.
So it's slow. I mean, I'm not trying to use so I just want to say it so that you're going to laugh at it later, right?
So
but your service loan provider, and talk to them now. Don't wait until everything comes, because once this thing hits, they are going to be inundated. So ask them now. Look, this is what I did. This is my balance. What do I need to do? And then follow their procedure. If they say jump 3 times and go to the left, please jump 3 times and go to the left. When I say that, I'm saying if they say fill out this paperwork, if they say do this out, do it. Just do it. Because remember that between the 3,000 and the 10, if they're saying that you can get refunded that amount, they would refund you the 7. Remember I gave you 10 was the balance. 3 was the balance right now. 10 is what they're forgiving. If they say, well, you can get $7,000 of what you paid since 2019 or 2020 back, then they would cut you a check, go through their procedure. They cut you a check. Your loan, what you owe on your loan will go up to 10 because you took the money back. So it goes up to 10. And then
hold on to that money until everything's final.
You know what? That's a pause. Do not spend the money.
Do not spend that
Put
money.
it in the account. Put it in the account.
Just in case. Because the government might come back and
just
in case.
I love that, Patrice. That's good. Put it in the bank. Put it in the bank. Put it in the bank. Okay. Then once it's paid off, the 10,000 is forgiven. You fill out the paperwork. Remember, this is not automatic. Can I just repeat that? This is not automatic. You're going to have to do some work to get this. Okay? And the sooner you do the work, the sooner you'll be in the processing line for the forgiveness. So then once, same scenario that we were talking about, once the 10,000 erases and they send you paid in full, then the 7,000 is available to you
to pay down something else and start a new business. Like use it for something.
Use it for your.
We're not giving you financial advice. Okay. This isn't legal, financial, but like we're just making little suggestions. That's what I would do. I would use it. Cause let's say I don't have an emergency fund right now.
Hello.
And we've talked about that in the past. Having difficult times could be around the corner. And so making sure Because when gas prices did what they did, I was like, I think I need to work from home a day a week or something. Like I need to, if I don't have to go into the office, I'm not going into the office.
So let's talk about it from the emotional perspective for just a second, if we
Okay.
can do that. Think right now, just breathe. What would $7,000 in a bank account do for you for an emergency fund? Would it help you sleep better? Would it help give you some peace about some decisions that you may need to make? If you're living in your own home or if you're going to buy something, would it not position you better for your next step to building wealth? Would it, I mean, just think about that.
Because most people are just 2 to 3 paychecks away from not being able to
From being homeless. I was one of those people. And that's how I became homeless. So you think that's going to happen to me again?
Nope.
Can we say no? I was going to say something else, but
we'll keep it PG.
PG. No. Okay. But the reason is that the emergency fund is there for you. It's not, when I say you, for your peace of mind, right? For opportunity, for that kind of thing. In case something comes up, you don't then have to put things on a credit card. You can keep your emergency fund there. The other option is if you have, and I'm going to say this, if you have high interest debt.
Yep. Credit card.
And let's say you're paying 19%. You might want to pay that off.
She said might. That's so sweet.
You might want to pay that off because I love the emergency fund idea. Really, I do. And it's the right idea. So take a portion of an emergency fund, a couple of times, but pay off the loan. 19% is not a joke.
Because
pay it off.
Let's say you're making $300 a month in credit card payments, or $400 or $200. What you could do is pay off the credit card and continue to have the $200, $300 a month withdrawn from your account and put it into a savings account, an emergency fund.
Can you tell that I raised her? I just want to say, can you tell that I'm telling you, this is legacy. Yeah. Because the things, now everything I taught her, she probably don't want to do some things, some things. But from this perspective, this is the kind of thing you want to do with your children. You want to make sure that they understand. So when the money comes in your house, or however the money comes in your home, you don't want to, every time money comes in, that you spend it.
I got to get better about me and Amazon.
Yeah. I had to cut Amazon off. I mean, Amazon was just,
it's like,
it kept on calling me.
I think I might want this.
And then you have this take back thing. So now what helped me, we're saying changes, but it's really spending the money that comes in, right? If you have an issue with fashion, right, then you might want to, and you having money coming back to you, you might want to get off of following some of the places that encourage you to spend all your money in a certain place. Okay. So that you just
Facebook will send you ads. And
look,
you're like,
you have to have boundaries.
You might like this.
You have to have boundaries. Establish boundaries that will give you the goals that you desire. So that is the key. That have to align up to those goals. So I love what Patrice is saying. Take the resources and do all of those things, right? And then this is the other thing, is if you don't do anything ever for self-care, ever. And when I say self-care, that doesn't mean buying you something. It could mean sitting down with the book. Do something for yourself for self-care. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying I didn't say go buy yourself anything. I didn't say that. So don't read that in between the lines. I didn't say that. I'm saying do something for you to give yourself peace of mind so that you come better to the table to your family. You come better to the table for you, right? So getting rid of debt at every level is going to help you mentally, emotionally, financially, physically, and spiritually. You hear me? Because it matters when you feel like you're burdened with debt, even though you can pay the monthly payments. Okay. Just be careful of that.
I love that. And thank you so much for joining us. If you have questions or if you'd like us to cover a topic, please leave it in the comments. We do read those, we do pay attention to that. And we hope you enjoy the rest of your day.